Good morning. I'm Lauren Wyeth, and I want to talk to our kids this morning about what's happening here in Minneapolis. As Unitarian Universalists, we promise to speak the truth in love. And sometimes the truth we have to speak about is very sad or very complicated or scary or unfair. But we speak the truth in love anyway, because the truth will set us free. We are talking this morning about George Floyd. George was a 46-year-old Black man who lived in our city. His friends called him Big Floyd because he was 6.5 feet tall, really tall. And when George was a boy, he liked playing football and basketball. All through his life, George tried to help others by being a good and generous friend and by accepting others just as they were. On Monday, George Floyd was killed by a white police officer in South Minneapolis. The police officer was arresting George because he thought that George had used fake money in a store. George was made to lie on the ground, face down, with handcuffs. And then the police officer knelt down and put his knee on George's neck. And George told the police that he couldn't breathe. Some people who were nearby tried to get the police officer to stop hurting him, but the other police officers who were there, they didn't help. Even worse, they prevented anyone else from helping. And the police officer who was pressing his knee into George's neck, he didn't stop, and George Floyd died. Why would the police do this? In our country, so many Black people have been killed by police officers. We're taught that police are supposed to help and protect everyone, but Black people have always been treated unfairly by police. They're more likely to be accused of things they didn't do and more likely to be hurt. This is really scary because police officers have a lot of power and responsibility. Though we should all be able to count on them to be kind and helpful, many Black people feel scared when they're around. Black leaders in our community are calling for an end to policing. They want money to be given to Black communities directly so that people can choose how they will take care of one another. Now, here in the Twin Cities, in this past week, you may have seen broken glass and smoke and heard sirens and loud bangs and helicopters around your neighborhood. You may have seen some beautiful art, like this mural, and I know you've seen lots of people helping one another too. Our neighborhoods are hurting. We are full of so many feelings about George's death, including deep sadness and fear and rage. Ever since George died, lots of people have been protesting what happened. We carry signs and we demand that the police officers who murdered George Floyd be arrested, all 4 of them. But many people think it will take more than that for things to change. We want to live in communities where when someone needs assistance, for any reason, no matter who they are, they can count on trained helpers showing up with kindness and concern. Black community leaders are demanding that the Minneapolis police become a force that cares about and protects everyone equally. They say we might have to start over with a brand new way so that Black people and Indigenous and Brown people too can trust community helpers to help everyone. Now, an important question we have is, how can we honor George's life? Well, first we can remember and talk about him like we are now. We might want to find a picture of him and post it somewhere in our home. I chose this beautiful one by Andres Guzman. When we want to create sacred space, We can light a candle for George and for his family and loved ones and for all our communities. We can say a prayer of hope that George's loved ones find comfort and that our communities find justice. God of many names, we know that breath is life. May everyone breathe freely. We feel our connection to the whole human family as we breathe in and breathe out. Amen. And we can also do things to help. We can draw pictures or write messages of love to share with George's family and our neighbors. We can make signs that say justice for George, or we can write Black Lives Matter in chalk on our sidewalks. We can write letters to our mayor and our governor telling them about the kind of communities we want to live in. What happened to George Floyd and what keeps happening to Black communities in our city and our whole country is terrible and wrong. Whenever you have any questions about it, you can speak to us, and we promise to speak the truth in love. Knowing hard things is still easier than having questions that we can't ask or feelings that we can't express. If you're angry, it's okay to stomp around and yell. And if you are sad, crying might help. And kids, if you're feeling scared, I hope you will let your grown-ups know so they can help you feel calmer. And I promise you this, we adults will work as hard as we can to fix these problems by taking care of ourselves, by taking care of you, by keeping our hearts open even when they're broken, by lifting up the voices of our wise Black leaders and listening for what love is asking us to do. We love you so much, and our love for you is why we are so determined to build a better world.